What is going on, my fellow movie lovers, and welcome back to the Luke Ponto channel. And guys, I'm back with another list of movies for 2022, and I'm going to give you guys all 8 comic book films in 2022 that came out, and I'm going to be ranking them from worst to best. But of course, guys, if you guys don't know, I should have mentioned this with my previous list that I've also did my worst films of the year and also my best animated films of the year. I should clarify that this is my list. Not all opinions are going to be the same. So if you guys want to list off your picks, let me know down in the comments below, and I will read your lists as well. Just be as respectful as you can. But if you guys are new here, also hit that subscribe button down below and that notification bell right next to it. Hit that thumbs up and also share this video. Y'all know the drill. But without further ado, guys, let's begin talking about the all 2022 comic book films. Starting with... Now, you guys might be wondering, why do I own this movie? Well, it's because of the packaging, so yes, I own it. Because number 8 is, of course, my least favorite film of the year, and that is Morbius. Let's talk about it again. Because this movie literally has some of the worst CGI I've ever seen in a comic book film, some of the worst writing in comic book film history, and some of the worst performances I've seen in a comic book movie. This movie has nothing going for it, and I didn't even stay for the post-credit scene because I didn't care. But from what I've heard out of those post-credit scenes, they offer nothing. So I was like, well, I can just leave right now so I can beat the traffic. So, but yeah, and they were completely, and I tried watching it again, and it fell completely on its face down to my number 1 spot in the worst film of 2022. Do not watch this film. Even if you guys are looking through Netflix and you find it, don't ever watch it, because this film literally belongs in the Dollar Tree. That's what this movie is. Speaking of generic comic book movies, that is number 7 is Samaritan. This film had so much potential. When you have Sylvester Stallone in a superhero film, as our main character in a superhero film, you got me sold. But when it turns out like this, in such a cluttered story, and really cluttered action, not really cluttered action, the action that's in this film is great. And the chemistry that Sylvester Stallone has with this kid is good as well. But the rest of the film suffers from a very generic story, very bad CGI, and I don't know, just a story I really could not get behind. And that's the thing you're supposed to do. That's the thing that's supposed to make a movie good, is have a good story. This movie is not that, and it's kind of baffling if you ask me. Alright, now we're done with those 2 films, the not-so-good comic book films. These are now films that I really like and love. So kicking off that part of the list, we have Black Adam. Now, this movie I wasn't really looking forward to. I was excited for that The Rock was doing a superhero film, but the problem was he was really hyping this movie up, and that it was going to change the face of the DCEU. Which it didn't. It's kind of pointless now. But for what I got out of this film after seeing it in theaters, I was like, okay, this is actually a lot of fun. Because this was one of those films that honestly just keeps going. It doesn't stop. Yes, it is iffy in certain moments, and it's a very, very cliched story. I could not help but have fun with this movie, especially with those fight scenes. The fight scenes of this film I thought were awesome. Now, this is the only animated comic book film on this list, obviously, if you guys couldn't tell. But number 5, excuse me. Number 5 is DC League of Super Pets. Now, this movie, this was actually the film I walked in with the lowest expectations of any comic book film this entire year. Maybe with other one that we'll get to in a little bit. But this one did not look very good from the trailers. It just looked like a throwaway kids movie that was trying to, cash in on the superhero movie popularity because it's the biggest genre like in all of Hollywood right now is superhero movies. And this movie looked like that, but just trying to cash in on that popularity. And man, was I wrong. I had such a really, really good time with this film on the big screen. Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart had really good chemistry in this film once again. The animation is gorgeous. It's a very, very funny movie. Like, I was not expecting this film to be as funny as it was, and my God, this is one of the biggest surprises of 2022, and I'm not going to say anything else about it. It was a huge surprise. Probably the most hated comic book film on this list right here. Number 4 is Thor: Love and Thunder. This film I had a lot of fun with, and I was really excited for this film when I heard that Taika Waititi was coming back after the success of my personal favorite MCU film, Thor: Ragnarok. And when I heard this film was getting mixed reviews, I was nervous going in because I heard that they made Thor look like an idiot. Yes, that might be true, but I could not help but have fun with this movie. I mean, yes, it is goofy, but I could not help but smile throughout this entire runtime. It is really fun. It actually balances the emotional and comedy beats a little bit better than Ragnarok does, but at the same time, it kind of doesn't. But don't tell me to make it make sense, because that's how I think, okay? But yeah, I do think that the emotional and comedy beats of the film are definitely balanced a little bit better than Ragnarok. And they finally got... Can I not talk? Thor and Jane's relationship actually done right this time, rather than the first two films, which I thought were done poorly. But in this one, they finally got it right, and I was so happy that they finally did that. So yeah, I'm sorry, haters, but I really enjoyed Thor: Love and Thunder. One of the most fun theater-going experiences I've had all year long goes to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which is also at number 3. This film, I kind of had a funny history with. At first, I loved it. Watched it a second time, didn't like it as much. But then the last few times I've watched it, I've seen it like about 6 times now in total. I love this movie. This movie is bonkers. Like, well, maybe without the first 30 minutes of this film, it does feel like a typical MCU movie. But after that, when Wanda comes into the picture as our villain, that's when this film goes off the hinges and goes nuts. Like, full-on Sam Raimi Evil Dead vibes. And that's what this film is supposed to do for you. And I enjoyed the heck out of this film. Elizabeth Olsen steals the entire film. And I cannot wait for her solo film as the Scarlet Witch. Coming in at number 2, this one I was really doubtful of. Because if you guys don't know, I'm not a big fan of the first Black Panther. But Black Panther: Wakanda Forever took me by surprise at how incredible this was. I adored this film. I saw this film twice in theaters, and it has not left my mind since. I'm still waiting for it to hit Disney Plus so I can watch it again. But man, this film really did take me by surprise at how good it was. I love the action is handled better. It's really emotional, and I just almost loved every single minute. I pretty much loved every single minute of this movie. Not one single issue I could even come up with Wakanda Forever. People will say that this film is too long and is a bit slow. This film flew by for me both viewings, and I was surprised at how much it did. Because, again, I'm not a big fan of the first film, but this film really took me by surprise on how much better it was. Because they got the emotional beats down better, and they also did the action and the CGI a lot better. So, every criticism I had with the first Black Panther was actually taken under consideration and done better in this movie. And I'm glad they did that. Wakanda Forever takes the number 2 spot as best comic book film of 2022. But now we're down to number 1. Is this one even going to be really any surprise? at why this is number one. This is pretty much everybody's number one comic book film of the year. Well, for some people it's not, but for most people it is, including myself. And somehow, some way, this film is my favorite comic book film of all time. And that goes to... Bum, 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 bum. Of course it's The Batman. No comic book film this year could even top the amazingness that was The Batman. This film really inspired me. Like, if a comic book film like that can inspire me, you know, not only is this going to take the number one spot of the best comic book film of the year, but also has a very likely chance at being my favorite comic book film of all time. And that's what The Batman is. It's very inspiring to me. Robert Pattinson firmly shows that he is the best Bruce Wayne / Batman, and I will die on that hill. Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle / Catwoman was incredible. Paul Dano as the freaking Riddler. Absolutely terrifying. Like, he reminded me a lot of both Kevin Spacey's character in Seven and Jigsaw from the Saw movies. That's the kind of character that he is. Terrifying. And Colin Farrell as the Penguin might have stolen the entire movie for me. He was absolutely hilarious, and yeah, I cannot say enough good things about this one that I haven't said already, because I do have a full review that where I gush about this film for at least like 14 minutes. And if you guys did not see that video, I'll put a link in the description below that goes to my review. But man, my favorite comic book film of all time, and also my favorite comic book film of 2022, of course, goes to The Batman. Well, guys, that's my list of all 8 comic book films ranked from worst to best. Let me know your list down in the comment section below. What is your favorite comic book film? What is your favorite and least favorite comic book film of the year? Is your favorite Wakanda Forever, or is your favorite The Batman? I better not see your favorite be Morbius, because you really don't want me to blow up in that comment section, do you? But joking aside, guys. But anyways, thank you all so much for your continued support of this channel and continuing to watch my videos. Hit that subscribe button once again and that notification bell. Hit that thumbs up and also share this video as well. Again, stay tuned for January 21st. We'll be doing a watch along of Scream 2. Mark my words. And I do want to review both Puss in Boots and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Since because I am going to be reviewing the sequel, why not review the first one? You know? But anyways, guys, thank you all so much once again for watching this video and for your continued support. And if you guys want to see more content from me, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.